Week 10 of the fantasy football season. Here's a few defense DST units I have as sleepers this week. The first one, the Arizona Cardinals. So believe it or not, this Cardinal team's in first place in the NFC West. Their defense has been playing better as the weeks go on. They're still out there 96% of fantasy leagues. But the last couple weeks, they've had some decent games. Week 7 versus the Chargers, 15 points allowed, 3 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries. Week 8 at Miami, tough game on D, 27 points allowed, a sack and a safety, but they got the win. And week 9 versus the Bears, 9 points allowed, 6 sacks, a safety in that ball game. So their defense is going out there. They're getting pressure on quarterbacks. And this week, I know the New York Jets, they got a good offense, no doubt about it. Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, Adams, Brees Hall. But we know Rodgers, he's been turning the football over a lot for the most part this season. And he's a quarterback that's not mobile anymore. 40 years old, coming off the Achilles injury. And if you get a hand on him, he's going to go down, and he's taking a bunch of sacks as well this season. So in a home game where this Cardinal defense has been better at home than they've been on the road, they're definitely a sleeper option. This week, the next DST is the New England Patriots. So the Patriots surprisingly out there in 89% of fantasy leagues. This week, it's a decent matchup, I believe, at the Chicago Bears. This Bear offense, they've had trouble for the majority of the season. Caleb Williams taking big hits, turning the football over, holding on to the football a whole lot. Even in the receiving game, DJ Moore struggled the last 3 weeks. Keenan Allen's been non-existent. Rome Odunze, only 2 big games in 8 this season. So like I said, this offense is inconsistent. And I think this Patriot team versus young and rookie quarterbacks over the last few seasons, even though I know it was under Belichick, their defense has played well versus the younger quarterbacks. So I think they go out there this week is New England. I'm not saying they're going to have a monster game, but if you're in a deep pinch in deeper leagues, I think they could be a decent sleeper option. And the third and final defense DST have as sleepers the Carolina Panthers. I know this Panther team, arguably the worst team in all pro football, but this New York Giant offense gives up the 5th most fantasy points to DSTs on the season. So it wouldn't surprise me if they gave up mid-20s, high 30s to the Giants. If I had a couple sacks and maybe a pick 6 in this ball game, I would think is a possibility for this Panther team. So like I said, the defense hasn't been good all season long. Week 8 at Denver, 28 points allowed, 2 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries. And then week 9 in the good victory versus New Orleans, 22 points allowed and a sack. So like I said, this DST is a deep desperation dive, is a sleeper option out there in 99% of fantasy leagues. But hey, if you think that ball game could be low scoring, even though usually those overseas ball games are high scoring, maybe this Panther DST could surprise and put up a big number as a sleeper option. So that's a few defense DST units I have as sleepers for week 10 of the fantasy football season.